start off Manchester, England. We had on the zone light heavyweight contenders Joshua Buatsi versus Zach Parker. And Buatsi, my question coming into this fight, bud, was how much was taken out of him in his last fight about a little over 8 months ago versus Callum Smith? That was a Fight of the Year nominee contender for 2025. It was a war. And I think watching this fight, I do think some was taken out of him. He seemed like he wasn't himself with his aggression once inside, pulling the trigger and letting his hands go. Some of that credit to Zach Parker and that awkward style. Very unorthodox, jumping in and out, a lot of holding, made it very sloppy, made it an ugly fight. Not a fun fight to watch, to be honest. But Buatsi should have had some experience with that already. He fought Willie Hutchinson to a split decision, very similar styles. This time, he goes ahead and he wins a majority decision. It's a lot of outcry out there. A lot of people saying robbery. This is a robbery. I didn't see it that way, bud. I saw it as a very sloppy fight with some close rounds. Thought a fight that maybe could have went a point either way. I'm fine with a draw, which one of the judges gave it. In the end, majority decision win for Buatsi. Just want to hear your thoughts, your take on the fight and the scorecard.
Yeah, I agree with you. But everything you said, I'll be honest. Everything you said, I would second it. I didn't think it was anywhere near robbery. I thought the commentators were a bit biased, to be quite frank. I thought they were a little biased for Parker. I thought I had it a draw, but I could have. There was a couple close rounds, and I made a note to myself. There was one round, I think it was maybe in the third round, I gave the round to Buatsi after giving the first 2 rounds to Parker. And I said that I could have gave it to Parker. If I had done that, Parker wins the fight by 1 point. Either way, it's a very close fight. Parker got off to a fast start, Buatsi to a slow start. To your point, maybe that fight, boy, that was some fight. We were there. That was some, and I called that fight for Ring Magazine for their podcast or whatever that was, the simulcast. I called that fight with Doug Fisher from Ring Magazine. It was, sometimes it's something physically gets taken out of you, and sometimes fighters at a certain point, they have trouble getting up for certain fights. Maybe you get up for that fight, and then kind of like in your business in football, remember you used to say, I'm worried about this game. The opponent's not as good as the opponent we just beat, but it's a sandwich game where you get sandwiched in between, a big game you won and now a game you're supposed to win, and you could have an emotional letdown. And I think that happens. I mean, we're not talking about robots. We're talking about human beings here. I think that the emotions play into it a lot, and I'm not making any excuses. Parker fought a good fight, but I think Buatsi maybe had trouble getting up for it. Either way, it took him a while to get his engine going. He's a pressure guy. He's a strong guy. He's a guy you can hit. He's one-dimensional. He's coming forward. He's got a strong jab. He's coming forward behind the jab. He's going to your body. He's trying to wear you down. And that's what he tried to do with Parker. And I would say he started to do that later in the fight. He started to get Parker to slow down a little bit. I gave Parker the last round. I give him credit for that. But I thought Buatsi got back in the fight after losing the first 3 or 4 rounds by coming on and going to the body and applying pressure, and establishing a little control of the fight with that hard jab. Parker used the jab. He moved around. You said it perfectly. Very unorthodox, pick spots, counter punch, drew punches from different angles, kept Buatsi off balance. You can see what his game plan was. His game plan was to keep him off balance, to move a little bit when Buatsi comes in, pot shot, sniper him a little bit, move again, but a lot of grabbing. For me, Parker was doing too much grabbing on the end, too much. He's lucky the ref didn't take a point away, but a lot of grabbing, didn't make for the best, look of the best watch, as you already alluded to. But Buatsi gets blamed too, from me, because he let him grab. He should have done in the corner, could have maybe made an adaptation where they could have said, hey, look, he's looking to grab you. Take a half step back, make him fall into you, and counter him. You know, punch. Don't let him grab you. Don't use your feet. Don't let him grab you. You know, but he allowed himself to be grabbed. But Parker was the one initiating all the grabs. There's no doubt about that. And at the end of the day, I think that there might be a reason why. I'm not in the mind of these commentators. I mean, they had it so big for, I thought it was absurd. They had it so big for Parker. Maybe they're watching a fight where, I think this happens. I think optics can be part of judging and influencing a fight for fans, for judges, for commentators, where you see a guy moving. And on the outside, it's easier to see him scoring. He's moving around, he's scoring, and then he's keeping you off balance. The other guy's just coming forward. It's got the look of the guy moving being more effective, more efficient. But in reality, especially late in the fight, a lot of those punches ain't landing. In reality, yeah, you see the athleticism. You see the dynamics of the movement that catches your eye. You're not really into watching a guy just come forward. Like, he's just coming forward. What's he doing? He's throwing a jab. He's throwing to the body. But the other guy's moving his hands. He's moving. He must be doing more. He must be winning. Whoa, give him another round. Give him another round. And you get caught up into that. You get into that trend of thinking, and it's wrong. Because you're missing that Buatsi's landing a hard, straight jab. You're missing that Buatsi is landing some good body shots. But they're not as, what's the word? They're not as...
Damaging?
No, they're damaging, but they're not something that's... It's kind of like a guy who's flamboyant against a guy who walks in a room with just a nice suit. Just a nice business suit. And the guy who's flamboyant, who are you going to look at? You're going to say, whoa, you see what he was wearing? Yeah, you're not going to notice the other guy was wearing a freaking pretty nice damn suit, and he had good shoes too. You didn't even look at him. Alligator shoes. Didn't even look at him. And I think it's part of that. It's human nature. You look at what catches your eyes. What flares a little bit, sizzles a little more. And that style sizzles. So it catches your attention. And I thought that might be the reason why they're thinking he's winning all those rounds. But they're missing that Buatsi is doing the quiet stuff. Hard jab, body work, pressure, and then coming on late. End of the day, I thought, if you want to say he got robbed, that it should have been a draw, all right, go ahead, say that. 1 point, but to think that Parker ran away with that fight, you're not selling it over here to this guy. Sorry.